All right, I'm going to tell you guys in this video today how I started growing small bits of Ethereum into bigger bits of Ethereum into bigger bits. And I'm doing it with two other friends right now. It's going to be important to note that this is going to be a video that skips a lot of details. We're going to talk and touch briefly on Ethereum and Bitcoin. I'm going to tell you about my history on it because I'm from Canada and I'm not into taking risks. Canadians are less averse to risk. That's just the way it is. Americans are the Wild West pioneers. I live in the United States now, but I was scared to death to do this and I had no options. So my back was against the wall. So whatever, figure you're going to try what you're going to try, right? And we're going to talk about DeFi, but we have to talk about this transition that Ethereum is making for it to make any sense. So let's talk about it right now. My name is Steven. I'm not leaving crypto on this channel. And this is not an expert channel where I'm going to dazzle you with graphs and tell you that a coin is going to the moon. I'm not pumping stuff. I'm just telling you what's working for me on my journey so you can learn with me and we can become experts together. And I know more than most people. I have a good understanding of all this stuff, but I try to use analogies and break things down so it works well for you. If you guys like this journey, you guys want to be a part of it, go ahead and subscribe to us here. If you're watching on Instagram, follow the account. That would be really cool. So I don't like risks. I'm scared of risks. I'm scared of risks. I grew up relatively poor in terms of Canadian terms. Now, Canadian poor is different than American poor, and American poor can be different levels, and American poor is different than Filipino poor, and I mentioned the Philippines. It'll make sense in a minute. And I'm not picking on the Philippines. Just don't dislike the video and go all crazy on me. But my point is, I never had any money. So when you start to have money, if you don't have money and you have it, most people hold on to it. They don't want to let it go. And what happened with me with this whole thing is that I remember sitting in a 800 square foot apartment back in like 2013, watching 60 Minutes, watching Morley Safer talk about this crazy thing called Bitcoin. And they were talking about how it's not backed by anything, but how there could be a future here. And these Bitcoin speculators think the coins could go to $25,000. Bitcoin's sitting at like $62,000 today. It could go to $1 million. I mean, it's got an end date. Bitcoin is finite. Let's just talk about what crypto is for a minute. It's finite. It runs out eventually. That makes it not like the dollar, which they print more of. It can't be snooped on by the government and spied on unless you turn it into real paper money, and then the government knows that you have real US dollars, Canadian dollars, Aussie bucks, pounds, whatever. So people like it for privacy reasons. It's fully open and accountable. Bitcoin, it runs on something called the blockchain. So does Ethereum run on its own blockchain. Those blockchains are open to everybody. They're validated by millions of computers all at the same time on Bitcoin. Ethereum's changing. We'll talk about that in a minute. So people like the fact that you can't falsify these ledgers and that it's open. Smart contracts on Ethereum will probably change the way the world works forever. I'm banking on it. That's why I'm even making this video for you guys. But I was still scared to death and I didn't do anything with it. I couldn't eat Bitcoin. I couldn't go to the store and spend Bitcoin. It seemed like a lousy way to spend $1,000. If I invested $1,000 in 2013 when I saw that, I would have been sitting on $620,000 today. Stupid me. I should have pawned all my video games and realized that at 32 years old, I had nothing to lose. But I was scared. And I'm still a little bit on the fence about the whole thing, but it's working for me now, so I'm getting off the fence and going to the greener pasture on the other side. So what happened was when the shutdown happened, a lot of Vegas channels that already existed got a ton of traffic, and I was one of them. So I grew an audience on Not Leaving Las Vegas over on YouTube. And through that, I had people approach me about different things. Hey, you know what? It's the biggest scam, by the way. Let me share a scam on Amazon with you. When you see a product that has 10,000 reviews and every single one of them are verified, that's because somebody reached out to somebody and said, hey, would you like to buy our product with your own money and then review it positively so we can send you every penny you spent back on PayPal for the good review? But you get lots of those offers. But eventually I got a real offer, and it was from this company called P9 Magazine, which is a big, huge brand based out of the Philippines with tons of investors. And one of the investors is like one of the biggest private landowner in all of the Philippines. And, they wanted to let me know that they were buying the side of the biggest digital display in the world, or maybe North America, or maybe both, here in Vegas. And they wanted me to shout them out on their videos. And I said yes to it, but they wanted to pay me in Ethereum. Well, during this whole journey, right, when COVID happened, I had to get out of the timeshare business, and I was selling traditional magazine advertising. And that was pretty good. And I made a friend along the way who's a super smart guy, and he's become like really good. And I want to meet him in real life one day. It's weird, the digital world that we live in where you don't meet your best friends. And he told me to invest in $50 of Ethereum and $50 Bitcoin a week. And I was doing that for a while, so I knew what these things were. I'd studied them a little bit. Well, these guys wanted to pay me in Ethereum, so I already had a wallet. I asked him, I said, hey, Do I run risks like giving a person my banking account number and my routing number? He said, no, 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 no. They can only send to you. They cannot take it back from you. It's completely yours. Your wallet is yours on crypto. It's another benefit that people like about it. So I said yes to them, and they wanted me to talk to somebody who runs and manages something and owns it called the TKEX. Now, the TKEX is a token exchange. We'll talk about tokens, blockchains. I promise you we'll get to lots more videos on this channel, so subscribe to us. And he was like, basically, he sounded like snake oil guys back in the old county fair days. Like, come on, come all, get stevenj's special elixir. It'll cure what ails you. Sir, you got the shingles, it cures it. You got the cancer, it cures it. Sounded like that, but it wasn't. See, he's involved in Ethereum 2.0, and that's important. And so I kind of started seeing what he was talking about. He never asked me for a penny, and I'm not asking you for a penny either. I'm just telling you what I've done with a couple of friends that voluntarily experimented with me. And so here's what this is, okay? Bitcoin is mined. People do mathematical calculations on a computer that's sitting in a house or an office or a warehouse. They might get a little Bitcoin when they mine it. It's called proof of work. The problem with proof of work, and why are they mined? It's because on the blockchain, when people send money back and forth, the ledger I was telling you about at the start of this video, that's basically verified by everybody, and that's the math calculation that happens. Proof of work is great, but now more people want to use Bitcoin than ever, so it takes a lot more computers and a lot more power, a lot more energy, and it limits the amount of transactions per second that you can actually verify. So it means that there's a slow speed on that network. And so Ethereum is built with this idea of smart contracts in mind. And we'll get into smart contracts later, but what you need to know is that smart contracts can run financing applications, social media network sites. It could run video sharing sites. Imagine a video network site where you can't have anybody take down that video because the powers that be don't like it or because somebody says there's a lawsuit. It's just they can live forever with smart contracts. But Ethereum, which is the second biggest cryptocurrency in the world, needed to transition their network to a better network. So what they started doing is they offered people the ability, instead of running math calculations and trying to be the first to solve it when people did transactions or ran smart contracts, they give them the opportunity to take a bunch of Ethereum and stake it for like 2 years. And that means that you're actually taking Ethereum tokens out of the pool. Now, what happens when we have less of something? It becomes more valuable. So the cost of Ethereum is rising right now. And it's important to note, that's a big investment. It's 32 Ethereum. It's actually 20 if you're over on the TKEX, but they'll match the 12. But you get rewards back from it. So these people aren't doing something for no reason. They're actually making a lot of money every single month. And I'll talk about that later on down the line too in another video. So subscribe. And I keep saying that because I need subscribers, obviously. So anyways, long story short is that right now, when you are building a new highway and you're taking existing resources out of the tokens that you have for Ethereum, you're creating scarcity in the current existing Ethereum tokens. And that's the transition they're doing. And once it's finished, it's going to be like a 15 lane in each direction superhighway that can do a gazillion transactions per second. And it means that big companies like Visa that's already invested in it, they're going to want to use this for all of their payment processors across the globe kind of thing. That's why it's important. I'll get to that in another video. I know I keep saying that. Long and short is this. When somebody fires up an app like Coinbase or Robinhood on their phone, those are publicly traded companies. And they might want to buy some Bitcoin and some Ethereum like I did months and months ago last year. And because they want to buy those things, they have to get them from those commercial companies that are on the stock exchange. So ultimately what's happening is this. Because there's less Ethereum in the pool, because these people are staking their Ethereum and holding it for 2 years to help build this new network, it means that there's something called DeFi, decentralized finance. And decentralized finance is like crypto banks. And these crypto banks lend money to people like Robinhood and Coinbase and these commercial companies, but they have to get it from somewhere else. So they get it from a person like myself who goes through TKEX, tkex.me, that's the site, and they're also on Instagram. They go to that and they say, here's $100 of Ethereum. And they loan it, and it goes through the DeFi to the end user somewhere else on the blockchain that wants to buy Ethereum. Now, there's all these rewards I mentioned, and so those are paid back to you, or me in this case, who actually loans the money out. So the first time I did this, I loaned 100 TKEX to the wallet, and they sent it back to me the same day. I had $200 coming back. And then I took that 200 and I made it 4, and eventually several links down the line, you're not making the same amount of money. One of my friends that did this, he started off with $400, made it into 8, and then it immediately went all in and did $37,000 at the time. But his reward on that is going to be $54,000, right? He's going to get his 37,000 back and then several thousand more. So 10 Ethereum became 14. So the higher you go, the less they're repaying you back. It's not some magic genie that you rub and get 2 to 1 every single time. But that doesn't matter because the rates on this lending right now are as high as 10%. And it's only going to get worse as we go on, I imagine, because more people want to invest in these cryptos. I just saw on Fox Business News, and I posted it on the Instagram, a conversation where people are, one of the experts of a company called Binance, he's a former CEO of Binance, which is a big company. He said people are looking to DeFi because they're tired of banks trying to look into their business, and they're tired of governments trying to run their money for them. You should always pay your taxes, and the only time you pay taxes on crypto is when you actually take your crypto out and turn it into fiat money. So if you just left it into an account and let it grow and grow and grow, when the future invariably comes and more people are using it, you're going to be able to use this as collateral for real transactions in the real world. I mean, look, there's so much I could talk about here, but I just thought I would tell you how that method works. And I know we had to make a couple of stops to get there, but I hope it wasn't too boring for you. Leave us some feedback. I've been happy to hear what you have to think about this. My name is Steven. I'm not leaving crypto. These are no frills videos from a non-expert who's learning as fast as he possibly can, who knows a little bit more. And if you want to join along, hit the subscribe button. Now's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click, as I always do on my YouTube Vegas videos. So we say 3, 2, 1, and click.